were all really excited when we first saw that intro right there, where Clear Lakes pops up. We're always with you. We see these first images. It was really an exciting time. The Marble Hornets guys hadn't done anything major at all for a period of almost 5 to 6 months, something like that, after, well, actually even longer after Marble Hornets had stopped, but like after they had announced it and started the road to Clear Lakes 44, there was a lot of silence, and there was a lot of wondering what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. And when it finally hit, everybody was really super excited, and it led to the most viewed video on my channel currently, the Clear Lakes broadcast #1 analysis. And here we are today in a time where Clear Lakes 44, as it was, is no more. FAC, as we knew it at the beginning of this and throughout the entirety of Marble Hornets, is no more. Noah is gone. All that remains is Troy and the possibility of a reboot. And you have to ask, how did we get here? How did we get to a state where something we loved so dearly and that we followed, we solved all the puzzles that we could? What happened? Why is it this way? Well, I'm sure by now you've read over the past several months, Troy, Joseph, Tim, all of them coming out with their different side of the story as to how things happened. And it was quite similar. No one was really lying, but everyone kind of waited a long time just to let the smoke clear before they actually gave their reports. And we learned that Troy had made some poor business decisions with FAC, having taken full ownership of it when it was actually supposed to be divided among them, using company money for his own purposes, directing pay, and it just led to an environment, and along with the addition of Noah, which Joseph and Tim both went on record saying they didn't agree with. He just didn't gel with the creative process for them. It just all started to fall apart. Tim left. Troy changed all the passwords and everything, worried that he might try to pull something. Joseph left, and he was very angry. And now they're in very different places, where Joseph isn't really creating anything. He's trying to start a new life. Tim is, I'm not sure exactly what he's doing, but it's very minor creations, if anything. And Troy is struggling to survive. Noah is on his own, which, he has his animation background and everything. But that's not so much why we're here, as we're here to discuss the possibility of a reboot and everything that it could mean. And we're also going to discuss where Clear Lakes 44 was very, very strong, but ultimately why it suffered. And I'm not here to be overly negative. I've done 13 broadcast analysis videos, and I think throughout all of those, if you've watched any of it at any point, you could tell that I really, really wanted this series to succeed, to find its footing, to become the follow-up to Marble Hornets, because Marble Hornets was amazing. Everyone loved Marble Hornets that watched this. I can confidently say that. I don't know how you would know Clear Lakes 44 existed if you didn't watch Marble Hornets. We all loved it. And when we thought that there was something in the same universe that could be sort of a spiritual continuation, and then as we watched the series, we learned that there were actually even more ties than just a spiritual successor would have, it became a no-brainer that this could be something amazing. The first video comes out, and we see all of this surveillance-style footage and the guise of perhaps a local TV broadcast that is actually intrusive into people's personal lives and got into the supernatural. That sounded like an awesome, awesome premise, and I was super excited for it. The mystery behind it, everything was fantastic at first. And throughout my broadcast analysis videos, I started to point out the fact that we really did not have a narrative that connected everything as we went along, other than the fact that we had two very distinct characters, one the Birdwatcher and the other the Walker. We had those, and we saw things that were happening around them. We saw the supernatural aspects, and we had the mystery and intrigue of the camera and whatever it might have been. And we also had the idea that it could be connected to Marble Hornets, which, of course, we figured out that, yes, it was. But that's all we really had. After 13 broadcasts, that's all I can really say if I was to give you a brief synopsis. And I could go into more detail, of course, but you really don't have a narrative. I can't tell you what the series was about. So, just to recap before I move on, what do I like so far? I like the mystery, the suspense, the unique camera style, the way it was shot. All of that is good. What I didn't like was the fact that we don't have much of a narrative. There's not much of a story. But as we continue on, we start to build a little bit more of a story. Not by much, but we do figure out a little bit about the Birdwatcher's background. He's been suffering from not only some sort, I don't know if you would call it paralysis, but he is definitely disabled. He has a limp. He walks with a cane. And it's possible that he has hallucinations, but of course, as we know, some of them are real. And there's a doctor who's helping treat him. There's an investigation that the Birdwatcher is going through, which we never really find out much of what it was. But it could be something related to Marble Hornets. Yet again, that's only speculation that we had to go on because we don't have anything to connect it. Now, looking at all of that, this is an intriguing character. I'm attached, but not by much. And I would like to know more, but the pacing of the series didn't allow for that. Now, looking forward from that, we had probably, or actually no, definitely the biggest connection to Marble Hornets of any of the characters. To the Ark in the flesh. Well, not really in the flesh, but as close as you're going to get to in the flesh, damn it. You had a very clear homage to Regards in Broadcast 11. You had tweets saying, "Did you think I was gone?" And to think that that could have been a direction that the series was heading was massive. I was excited, super, super excited, because it seemed like the series was finally going somewhere. But as that was happening, that was when we were first learning of all the Thax split and everything that was going on. And suddenly the loose narrative and different directions all started to make sense, because as I noted before, Joseph and Tim didn't gel with Noah, and Troy very much wanted things to continue with Noah. And of course that was part of the split. But the split narrative could have been even better if they had been able to get on the same page, which I will lead into as I talk about the reboot some more. But as we continue to venture through the series here, there were only 2 more broadcasts after that, and we meet a character kind of just through voice that was in Birdwatcher's life. And that's really all we got. That was the last one, I do believe. Looking on it, we see where potential existed. And now that Troy wants to start it again, to do it all over, with only him at the helm, I'm assuming that, of course, because Joseph and Tim say they want to go in different directions. Noah has basically been fired. He's got a direction that he wants to go in. I will watch it, but I will not be as lenient this time as I was with this series. I'm not going to put as much of my soul into it because it's already sort of been ripped out once by the failure that this series was. I called a lot of things out in my videos, my analysis, that I saw that were problems. And I've been talking about them all video, but I really think there's something to be learned here. And Troy, if you're watching it, I don't mean this as a shot at you. I really would like to see a tighter narrative, and I think you can do amazing things. And now that you have the opportunity to do them as a solo entity, I think you have a really good shot at it. But what we have to identify as a lesson from all of this, everything that Clear Lakes 44 embodies, is that the style is very unique and it can work, but the narrative has to be tighter. Things have to happen faster, and things can't be loosey-goosey in this series anymore. There has to be a tight direction. The storytelling has to make sense. And honestly, even though Marble Hornets went on forever, I knew what Marble Hornets was about after watching the first video in the entire series, the introduction video. You get a 2-minute outline in that video of everything that you need to know to start watching the series through. Now, I'm not saying Clear Lakes 44 has to have that, because obviously it can't exist with that, because there's mystery and you get drawn into the series through that mystery. There's no narrator. The unique perspective on each of the characters' lives is the narration, in a sense. You can't have an introduction like that, but what you can do is within 5 videos, just to throw out a number, show me who these characters are, show me why I should care about them, and go from there. Show me what it is that's so interesting about this series. Marble Hornets, we saw Alex Crayley devolve as a human being due to his exposure to the operator. And though I don't know the actual whole story or a sense of where the story is going until midway through Season 2 of Marble Hornets, when we see that he's actually more of a villain than the operator is, I still know exactly what I'm getting into. But what keeps me going are the surprises that come along the way, the storytelling, the reactions, the effects. Everything in that narrative was excellent. Well, not everything, but most of it. And that's honestly where Clear Lakes 44 could improve. When Troy's ready to bring it back, I want to see a tight narrative. I want to see things move at a much faster pace. And if he's able to, I want to see the puzzles be updated more often. If he decides to go on with the marblehornets.com, do that more often, and just keep the audience invested. Don't give up, and just make everything tight. So, there's no more speculation to be had. I'm not going to talk about anything else that the series could have been or should have been. Here's where I'm leaving it until it picks back up. It has so much potential to be something great, and I really want to follow it along. And I'll do it. But if it slips, if it doesn't live up to quality, if I see that it's going south, there's no way that I'm going to keep up with it and do these videos like I have been. But as a word of finality, I'd like to thank everyone who's watched and has enjoyed my analysis, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on everything that has happened, and hopefully we'll get to do this again someday and be swept off our feet by Troy and whatever productions he has. I wish them all the best, and I want to see an amazing story. Thank you for listening to me talk for around 15 minutes. I appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you.